Man, does it feel good to be back. The NFL Super Bowl is just a few days away. College basketball is at its season's peak, and we haven't even discussed the state of college football now with all of you yet. All of this and so much more coming up on this special episode of College Crossfire.
Coming back to that 2021 MVP. He's better than Josh Allen. He's better than Baker Mayfield. He's not better than Mahomes. I can't say that.
What you miss a kick, you get kicked.
You know, a bag of money or whatever, some food inside of them. Okay. All right. We're gonna
Good evening and welcome into College Crossfire. I'm your official host, Ryan Swantkowski, and we have a thrilling show for you today as it is our Tournament of Champions. Before meeting our contestants tonight, there's a lot of them, more than usual. I want to share with you that today's show is brought to you by Cat Metro, Austin's transit system. Connect you to work, school, play, and everywhere in between. Plan to ride to this weekend's game at catmetro.org. All right, let's go ahead now and have me explain the rules of this tournament, as the format is different than previous episodes. There are 6 contestants tonight who have earned their spot from last semester's contest, and they're seeded numbers 1 through 6. The number 1 seed will compete against the number 6 seed, and so on and so on. Each round will have 3 total questions, with the first 2 being longer and the last one being essentially a rapid fire as they answer in no order. The order of answering these questions will be decided via my own coin right here, a coin flip, if you will, with the winner deciding if they want to start their answer to the first question or to the second question initially. Whoever I believe has the best total answers across the 3 questions will move on to the final round. The final round, the winning 3 contestants will then move on to the very final round, which will be played like a usual rapid-fire contest with 3 questions and points of 6, 4, and 2. You guys all know the drill. If needed, though, there is a bonus question. After that, we will have our champion. All right, let me now announce the matchups for tonight. We will first have the number 1 seed, Joe Duffey, facing off against the number 6 seed, Tyler Moss. Then we will have the number 2 seed, Grabiel Silva, against the number 5 seed, Ikey Kohler. Then lastly, but definitely not least, the Windy City Boys of number 3 seed, Jason Kinander, and number 4 seed, Tommy Yarrish, battling it out. Now that everything is explained, my final piece of advice to the contestants: don't get caught in the crossfire. Let's now get into our first head-to-head. Here now is Joseph Duffey and Tyler Moss. Tyler, Joe, how are we doing? How are we feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I guess I'll go first there. But excited to have my first Tournament of Champions. Didn't do this last year because I wasn't good enough against some very stacked competition, but I've improved my game, and I'm ready to get rolling.
Yeah, it's only fitting you get to go first as the 1 seed. I've managed to sneak in here as the 6 seed. We'll see if we can, shake some things up, but we'll just see how it goes when we get to the questions.
Absolutely. Well, welcome, guys, and I'm so glad you're here, both looking very handsome, Joe, and a very nice suit. I love it. You guys both look great. We will now decide who gets to go first, or how they would like to go in order of, with this 2020 $quarter. There's a normal heads. You can't really see it, but that's okay. And there's a normal tails. So the number 1 seed, or the higher seed, will be able to call it. Would you like to call it?
It never fails. I'm going tails.
He's going tails. It is indeed heads. As they can see, it is heads. That is big, says the live audience. And Tyler, you get to choose. Would you like to go first on the first question or the second question?
If I go first, let me clarify real quick.
Okay.
If I go first on the first question, then I also go first on the third question, right?
Well, third question's a rapid fire. Whoever goes.
I'll go first on the second question.
Okay, so you start off the first question for us. And there we go. We got a great live audience tonight. Thank you, live audience, for being here as well. All right, here we go. Joe versus Tyler. Let's get it going. The NFL playoffs were wild up to this current point, and there were some unforgettable performances to go along with them. In your opinion, what player had the best individual playoff game performance, excluding all the players who are currently in the Super Bowl, and what makes you think this? Joe Duffey, you will start us off. Let's hear it.
As much as it pains me to say it, They broke my heart earlier in the playoff season. I'm going to go with Aaron Jones, running back of the Green Bay Packers against my very own America's team, Dallas Cowboys. In the wild card round, Aaron Jones, he's a Cowboy killer. He's been a Cowboy killer his entire career. The El Paso native has 10 touchdowns, I believe, in 5 career games against the Dallas Cowboys, including the playoff matchup they just had in the wild card. 118 yards on the ground. I believe he only had 13 carries as well. He was also active as a receiving back, and then he also blocks efficiently. He's one of those players who he's not, the biggest guy. Obviously, he's not, the strongest guy, not tall either, but he does the little things right. And you saw it again against the Dallas Cowboys, who have actually been a solid defense overall in the year, not as good as they had been the past 2 years. But I thought that overall that he just played a masterful game. Matt LaFleur had a great game plan overall, and the run defense once again failed, as it has my entire life in the NFL playoffs. It once again failed. Aaron Jones was once again a piece in that puzzle.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with you. Aaron Jones, 3 touchdowns against America's team in the playoffs. Like you said, the Cowboy killer. That must have been hard for you to say over there, but Aaron Jones put up some wicked numbers in that wild card round. Great answer to start us off. Tyler, let's hear it.
Yeah, so I'm going to focus on another game also in the wild card round. We're looking at Matthew Stafford's return to Detroit, but not Matthew Stafford himself. I'm looking at his number 1 target, Puka Nacua, who brought in 181 yards and a touchdown. That was half of Stafford's yardage in the game on about a third of his targets. So that kind of efficiency to have out of a rookie receiver from the 5th round in a playoff game, they've been depending on him all season. He showed up big when they needed it. They came just short in that game, but I think they would not have been anywhere near it without Puka Nacua. Obviously, Cooper Kupp has kind of almost taken a backseat to him after starting the season injured, but Puka Nacua really showed his professionalism as a rookie in his first year, and then especially cemented it in that first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Puka Nacua, great answer. Matthew Stafford returning home, emotional game. Puka, the rookie, out of nowhere, essentially, all season long, been balling out. Love that answer as well. I'm not going to be announcing who's getting these points, by the way. I know both of you were kind of looking at me saying, who's going to get it? I will not be announcing that. So we're going to be moving over to our second question now. The NBA over the past few weeks has seen some high-scoring performances, shocking coaching changes, and even some teams way outperforming expectations so far. In your opinion, which team has shocked you the most this season up to this point, and why? Tyler, you get to start.
Yeah, so I'm what you would call a non-ball knower. I will admit this in front of the live audience, in front of the people watching at home. I'm not an NBA watcher, but as a South Texan boy, it's got to be the Spurs. I don't know what they're doing with Wembanyama, but he's not doing enough for them. I understand this team was bad enough to get that first lottery pick. Obviously, they're not going to have 180 in the next season, but the way they've been running their offense and not using Wembanyama efficiently has been absolutely baffling to every NBA fan, I'm sure. I see it all over Twitter. I don't know who Jeremy Sochan is before the season, but I know who he is now for all the wrong reasons. So the Spurs have just been mind-bogglingly bad, and I don't know. We were talking about this a little earlier before the show. It may be time for Pop to go ahead and get on out. It blows my mind how they have continually been this bad with a prospect like Wembanyama.
Wow, there we go. First super hot take of the night. Pop needs to get out of there. Wow. I honestly was not expecting for someone to say a team worse than what they were expected, per se. Really like the answer from you, Tyler. All right, Joe, let's hear it.
I'm going to go on the opposite side of that. I thought that's what the question was, but that was actually a really good answer. I'm going to go with the team that surprised me. That's the LA Clippers. This team has been, they've had star power the past 3 years, obviously with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, but adding James Harden now and then also having Russell Westbrook now in this team, all in LA, all these personalities, all these egos, they're starting to get number 1 in the West right now. And I didn't expect that. They are tied for West. They're not an overwhelming favorite in the West by any means. But overall, this team has surprised me based on how cohesive they've been. These guys are all very selfless all of a sudden. All of a sudden with the new playing rules with being excluded from all NBA honors if you don't play enough games. Kawhi Leonard is all of a sudden healthy. Paul George is playing more games. He's playing out of his mind as well. Russell Westbrook coming off the bench, being very unselfish, not putting up as many points as he has in the past. But Kawhi Leonard himself playing more games, like I said, shooting about 40% from 3 right now. Paul George also shooting about 43%. This team is playing so well. Tyronn Lue is doing a great job. I like them so far in this league, and I think James Harden is actually going to be a good closer for them as well.
Wow, James Harden being a good closer. Have we ever seen that ever before? I really like that answer from you, Joe. Lots of personalities over there, not just on the floor, off the floor as well, and they really have come together as a unit, especially over the past month and a half. So really like both those answers, actually, from both of you. Okay, we're now to our rapid-fire question. Anybody can answer at any time. Really quick one. If you had to pick one, who is your GOAT, greatest of all time, LeBron James or Michael Jordan? Anybody can start.
I'll start with this one.
Oh, he's ready.
Listen, I've never really cared for GOAT debates. I always think they're funny and entertaining, especially in the soccer world with, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. But in the NBA, I cannot stand when people act like there's not an argument for either side, whatever side you stand on. And that's why I personally have LeBron James as my GOAT. I have a gripe with Jordan fans who say, like, LeBron is not even in the conversation. But being now that he's a 20-time All-Star, most all-time, the leading scorer in the history of the NBA, most all-time. I believe he's fourth in assists as a 6'9", 250 forward. That is insane. He's had expectations since he was 15 years old. He has superseded them. He has won 4 championships. He has 4 MVPs. He's done literally everything you could ask for him. He's never been in trouble, never committed a crime, never done anything, to have a negative image on the NBA. And, when I look at his career overall, people are going to miss him, I think, when he's gone. But overall, his career has been spectacular. He's lived up to every single expectation called upon him. He is my GOAT. I think he's the greatest guy to ever pick up a basketball in the history of the NBA.
Wow. Really liked all that encompassed there. Not only on the court, off the court, like you said, 15 years old, having such hype around him. Very, very hard to manage those expectations. And he's done that and so much more. So really like that answer to start off. All right, let's hear it, Tyler.
So, for rapid fire's sake, I'm going to go ahead and defend the other side of the argument. I like how Joe mentioned that, when it comes to debates like this, you don't want to just be completely in a, what do they call it, an echo chamber, focusing solely on your own side. So I want to go ahead and pick Jordan in this debate. I think that obviously LeBron James has the longevity and more of those stats-wise in a more offensive league nowadays. And so that's why he's got stuff like leading scorer and things of that nature, because he's just played longer in this game.
Yeah.
But Jordan's got more NBA Finals wins, more NBA Finals MVPs, and it's really tough to go ahead and try to take that away from somebody. Obviously he's one of the greatest winners that we've seen in the league, and so if I just, if I had to boil it down to one comparison, it would be like trying to say that Joe right here is the number 1 seed, had a lot of wins over the season, and bringing in me as the 6th seed. Who's better, the winner or the one who wins sometimes?
Oh, wow. Great way to end that. Absolutely. I keep it going on the other side, but man, things just got heated in here. Everybody feels it. Great answers from you guys. Seriously, that's such a hard question. I don't even know who I would truly pick to you right now. Could not tell you at all. But what I could tell you is you just won that first round. And the winner of Block A of the Tournament of Champions is, quick little drum roll, it is Joe Duffey, the number 1 seed, remains in the tournament. Joe will be moving on to the final round. That will wrap things up for tonight's first knockout contest. Don't go anywhere. College Crossfire. We'll be right back. welcome back into College Crossfire Tournament of Champions. We are now in our second head-to-head matchup. We have our number 5 seed, closest to me, Ikey Kohler. We have our number 2 seed, Grabiel Silva on the end. Guys, how are we doing? How are we feeling?
Doing pretty good. I mean, the only freshman here on this panel.
Oh.
Kind of excited to go against Ikey. He's going to be a dark horse, I know it. Face him.
There we go. Ikey?
I'm just happy I'm beyond the Tournament of the Champions episode. Just as long as I was in the field, you know, I wanted to participate. So yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both being here tonight. Both look very handsome yet again. Loving the suit, loving the jacket. Both look great. All right. Playtime's over. Let's get to it. Question number 1. Men's college basketball has seen some absolutely... Oh, coin flip. Oh my gosh. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. All right. There's a lot going on up here. All right. You are the number 2 seed. You get to call it. Would you like to call it now or in the air?
I'll call it now. I'll say heads.
Okay. He's calling heads. It is tails. You see it as tails. All right. Would you like to go first, Ikey, or would you like to go second?
I'll go first on the first question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Sounds great. All right, men's college basketball has seen some absolutely crazy upsets so far, and we're just at the start of February. In your opinion, what has been the best upset so far this season, and why is it the best in your opinion? Ikey, you'd like to start? Go for it.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of upsets, but I'm going with December 1st. There was a game played between the number 1 ranked team, Purdue, and they were playing at Northwestern. And it's interesting looking at this because Purdue statistically really dominated the whole game. They out-rebounded Northwestern 52-27. They had never lost a game when out-rebounding a team by 25 rebounds. In addition, when they score over 80 points, they're 53-0. Like, Purdue has never lost. And somehow Northwestern was able to pull out that game. Now, leading up to that game, Purdue, they were 7-0. They had beaten Tennessee and Marquette, who are both now still ranked into the top 10. And then you look at who Purdue has beaten after that. They've basically recycled the top 10 rankings. They've beat Alabama, Arizona, Wisconsin, Illinois, which shows just really how dominant Purdue is, which is how they've been in the regular season the past 3 years. And, yeah, so my biggest upset is Northwestern beating Purdue on December 1st.
Absolutely. I was expecting that one. Purdue. I feel like me and you, is it maybe me and you? We always talk about Purdue on this show somehow, some way. Absolutely. I feel like they choke every now and then. That was a big-time choke. Love the stats you brought in. Purdue's been a big dog in the Big Ten this year. Very crazy upset. Only in December, towards the start of the season. We really like that answer. All right, Grabiel, let's hear it.
Well, like Ikey said, Purdue did run through everybody throughout the next couple of months, but there's one team that didn't run through, and that is Nebraska ball. Let's go! Nebraska defended their home court against Purdue, and again on the show I love to slander Zach Edey, and I love seeing him lose. So that was yet another great thing to see. Even though the Nebraska was 13-3 at the time, they still came off with a good upset. Their star player scored 19 points, and as their coach said, it was really an incredible win, so I'm going to go with Nebraska over Purdue on January 10th.
There we go. The dates included. I like that from both of you. One a little bit later in the season, more recent per se, one much further back, but Purdue going down from both of you guys, really. Just the Purdue haters over here, and the Edey hater. I'm here for the slander. Okay. Moving on to our second question, and Grabiel will start this one. Switching back to the NFL from earlier, who do you think is the biggest free agent available entering this coming season, and where do you see him signing? We will start with you, Grabiel.
I think the biggest free agent is going to be Mike Evans. Mike Evans, he's coming off his 10th straight 1,000-yard receiving season, and he's still a high-quality receiver that even after Jameis Winston left, Tom Brady left, and then Baker Mayfield came to town, his production didn't really slow down. Where I think he could end up, I really don't know. I've seen online that that he could end up with the Houston Texans, and that'll be a great addition for C.J. Stroud in the future. He does have good receivers right now, like Nico Collins and Tank Dell, but adding somebody reliable, good, old, a mentor like Mike Evans would be really great for C.J. Stroud.
Wow, thrown in the Texans.
Texans in there. It's bold.
I like it. You know me very well. But no, it's a really big name to mention. 1,000 yards in every single season he's been in the NFL. He seems to be aging, but not numbers-wise. Yes, in his age, but, I mean, the production on the field is still there each and every year, so really great answer. All right, let's hear it. Ikey.
So I think this free agent cycle is kind of interesting because in previous years there haven't been many top-name running backs that have been circulating around, but, I mean, there's many of them, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs. But for my free agent, I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley from the New York Giants. The way I see it, he's kind of been locked in kind of a stagnant offense for the Giants throughout his whole, since 2018, 6-year NFL career. But he's only 27, and he's shown that he was able to be productive in that offense. He had over 1,200 rushing yards. He had 10 touchdowns. And, we both had the Texans as our team that they go to. So, I think Saquon going to the Texans will be huge to give C.J. Stroud a very consistent running game to pair with the receivers, Nico Collins, Tank Dell. And the thing I think is interesting, the Texans have like the 4th most cap space in their contract. They still have C.J. Stroud under his rookie contract for 4 years, which just frees up cap space for more big-time players like a Saquon Barkley. And so I think that'd be a really good fit.
Yeah, really again, mentioning the Texans, you guys just know your host, don't you? You know how to put your answers right in front of me. I love it. Another great answer, though. Saquon seemed to be trapped in that Giants offense for years now. Has been a little bit injury-prone, but, yes, absolutely. In Houston, I think he would parallel C.J. Stroud very, very well. So I like that answer a lot, too. Okay, it's very, very close. We're moving into the rapid-fire question. Again, answer at any point. What do you think, and this is going to be super simple, what do you think is the most difficult sport to master in the world, and why? Anybody can answer.
I'm going to start off. My answer would probably be bull riding. You're
Wow.
It's a random sport. I mean, I looked up the hardest sports, and, basketball was one of the top ones. I was like, that's, it's not that hard to master. So I'm going to say bull riding, trying to tame
Hitting Google.
a 1-ton, 2-ton animal, that's just really, really angry, bucking around, back and forth, and that 8 seconds feels like an eternity for, just a bull rider. And, you see, how big the crowds can be, how entertaining it can be, but, you don't ever want to be the guy that's actually riding the bull. So I think that's one of the harder sports to, be able to first dip your toes into and then being able to master it at such a high level as these pros are.
Wow. I was not expecting bull riding to be on this show tonight, ladies and gentlemen, but here we are, and you hit Google. I like that. It's a good place to start when looking for your answers. All right, Ikey, let's hear it.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with boxing. I think boxing is one of the most technical sports. It's harder to knock people out as compared to UFC. It's very technical. When you look at the historical boxers, you really, at least in my mind, think of 4 of them. Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather, and then Canelo Alvarez now. But in boxing, you have to master your technique. You have to be very precise, but you also have to shift it a little bit and tailor it to who you're fighting. And also, you take one bad blow and you could be knocked out for your whole career. So as far as hardest sports to master and going through the most adversity and getting through it, I'm going to have to go with boxing.
Okay, very fair. Very, very difficult sport to master. I would agree with you. Like that a lot. You only think, when you think best boxers of all time, I think maybe 1 or 2 of them, but Mayweather being one of them, of course, but really like that answer. Great answers across the board from you guys. I knew this one would be an absolute dogfight. I had a very, very hard time coming up with the points over here. That being said, though, there can only be one winner between you guys. And the winner between Ikey and Grabiel is, quick little drum roll here, it is Ikey Kohler. Ikey gets the victory, the 5 knocking off the 2. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you both for being here tonight. Ikey will be moving on to the final round. Grabiel, thank you for coming on, man. Always a pleasure. I'm sure I'll see you in coming weeks as well. But that will do it for our second knockout round. We have one more coming up next. Stay here because you don't want to miss it. Welcome back into College Crossfire. We have our final knockout round of the evening as number 3 seed Jason Kinander takes on your number 4 seed Tommy Yarrish. Before we get to it, we are going to do, actually no, introduce yourselves first. Jason, Tommy, how are we feeling? How are we doing?
I mean, I'm doing awesome. You know, I always love being on Crossfire. I've had this marked off on my calendar for a while because I knew that I'd be competing in this, and so it's been a joy preparing for the questions and prepare my outfit tonight. And so happy to stay up late with TSTV Sports and hopefully make it on to the next round.
You know, this is probably the most successful night in Chicago sports history in the last probably decade. So glad the city is represented well here in Texas, and happy to be here. Ryan.
Well, thank you guys both for being here. Jason, good friend, former host right here, ladies and gentlemen. Former host. I'm in his glory. I'm in his glory. Okay, here we go. We got the coin flip coming up. The higher seed, Jason,
Heads.
we'll call it. He's calling heads. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. We've had a heads. We've had a tails. Let's see what we got. It is heads. It is indeed heads.
So that means I answer first.
So you could choose. Would you like to answer the first question first, or how would you start off, or second question first? You tell me.
Yeah, I'll start off.
First question first? All right, there he goes. He wants it. All right, here we go. Women's college basketball has been very entertaining to follow as players such as Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and others have been balling out. It's apparent that unbeaten South Carolina is the best team currently. But outside of them, who do you think is the best team and why? Jason, you will start.
Yeah, Ryan, well, there's been a lot of talk about other teams at the top of the power rankings this year, namely Iowa with Caitlin Clark, LSU with some of the other big-ticket stars in the country in women's basketball. But my eyes are fixated on a team outside of the top 10, and that is the Indiana Hoosiers. I really like what Terry Morin has done with this squad this year. She was the AP Coach of the Year last year. She's an Indiana native, so she understands the culture around basketball. I think that this Indiana team has the best four-headed monster in the country. They're led by Mackenzie Holmes, a senior out of Maine, and then they have Sydney Parrish, another senior forward, Yarden Garzone, the dual-faceted big out of Israel, and then Sarah Scalia, the sharp-shooting grad transfer who shoots over 45% from three. So this is a loaded Indiana Hoosiers women's basketball team. They have 3 losses this season, all to top 8 teams. They've lost to Ohio State, they've lost to Stanford, and they've lost to Iowa. Ryan, my eyes are on this matchup on February 22nd. They host the Iowa Hawkeyes at Assembly Hall. Last year, the Hoosiers pulled off the upset. This year, if they win that game, they'll be able to take the momentum into March with a little less of a target on their back than last year. I really like Indiana as a team that can make a deep run in a few weeks.
Wow, absolutely great answer. I didn't even know that 3 losses were to all top-ranked 8 teams, in the country like that. Four-headed monster. Really like how you put that. Indiana. Here we go. All right, Tommy, let's hear it.
Well, first of all, I think I want to clarify that nobody's beating South Carolina this year. I don't think when Dawn Staley's got it rolling, which she does, South Carolina more often than not beats you. And not only do they beat you, Ryan, but they beat you by 10 plus. And we've seen South Carolina just handle some of the top teams in the country all season. But if I had to pick another, and this may come across maybe as a casual take, but I think if you dive into it, it makes sense. It's Iowa. When you talk about the NCAA tournament, both in men's and women's basketball, experience matters. We've even seen it on campus here at Texas. You think about last year's men's tournament team that went so deep into the run because they had experienced players. Iowa has just that, and they have the best player in women's college basketball. No. They have the best player in college basketball in Caitlin Clark. She's just a fantastic 3-level scorer, but they have experience. They have depth on that team. They went to the national championship game last year and lost to a very talented LSU team that is still very talented but has kind of taken a step back this year, I think it's fair to say. Experience matters. Experience wins. And I don't think they'll beat South Carolina, but it wouldn't surprise me if Caitlin Clark is back in the national championship game again this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Caitlin Clark, maybe the best college basketball player, men's and women's, like you said. She's just phenomenal, beyond the arc, phenomenal, shooting like 30, 40 shots a game, but who cares? She's like, man, she's just letting it fly out there. But absolutely, experience does matter. I completely agree with you there, Tommy. Okay, moving over to our second question. The madness in college football has begun as conference realignment has begun. The transfer portal is chaotic, and big-name head coaches are either leaving or retiring. I want both of you guys' quick opinion on where the college football landscape is at currently, and also a potential sneaky team to make the new 12-team playoff next season as it stands now. So for this one, Tommy will start.
Well, I think if you look at the college football landscape right now, everything is just unstable from top to bottom, from the calendar to NIL to recruiting and what you can and can't do. And so it's just kind of wild, wild west free-for-all right now. You know, people are doing things that under ordinary laws in the past in the NCAA you would usually see penalties against, but now with the introduction to NIL, there's no guidelines, so it's just a free-for-all. And whoever has the most money is going to end up getting the better players. And I think that's still a model that sticks around, but that does bring up the question, well, what kind of ramifications need to come for teams and what kind of barriers need to be in place so that recruiting can be steadfast, so that college football can have a calendar that is rock solid and it doesn't wear coaches down. I think a big reason why we see guys like Nick Saban retire is just because the calendar is so bad.
Right.
And at that age, you can't keep up anymore. And it's not a coaching deal. It's just anybody can. It's not normal. Normal people can't do that for an extended period of time like Nick Saban had. So it's very unstable. And I think that something needs to happen. I think at the end of the day, the NCAA is going to get tossed out the door in college football. Another governing body is going to come into fruition, kind of like we've kind of seen a little bit with the SEC and the Big Ten, making a new whatever alliance, for lack of a better term, even though the last one didn't go too well in college football. As far as a team that is a sleeper that could surprise a lot of people, I'm going to the Big 12, which in today's college football scheme doesn't seem plausible, right? Just because they're kind of that third best conference behind the Big Ten and the SEC, and those schools are going to compete for everything. But I think Houston made a home run hire with Willie Fritz, getting him from Tulane. Willie Fritz had a lot of Louisianimals to work with, but now that he's got a really, really, really big, hot, and under-recruited bed in Houston, I think he can make Houston one of the best Big 12 teams and potentially one of the best teams in the country if he recruits right and he continues to develop the way he has.
Wow. Houston, did not expect that one, but really liked your NIL take. The calendar is ridiculous. It seems like something each and every day there is something going on in the college football world. Nick Saban, like you absolutely said, he just can't keep up. He's getting older. He's been in the league for 20-plus years, sort of the LSU. You just can't keep up like that. It's a free-for-all, like you said. Completely agree there. And Houston, wasn't really thinking that. Liked the thought there. Liked the thought there a lot. Very sneaky. I can see that. Okay, Jason, let's hear it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to agree with Tommy's first part of the answer in the sense that college football definitely is in a little bit of a frantic state. There's no order, and we had figured for a little while that the teams and the leagues were starting to operate independent of the NCAA and its jurisdiction, and the cat's out of the bag. The schools don't care about what the NCAA says. That was proven this week when the NCAA tried to rule down infractions on Tennessee and Virginia, and those schools immediately sued and are expected to win those lawsuits. And it was the same deal with multi-time transfers in college basketball. The NCAA has no more leverage, and until that returns, until there's some semblance of law and order in college football, like Tommy said, there's going to be a coaching calendar that doesn't work. Now, with that said, it's going to take more than that for me to feel bad about guys who make $8 to $10 million a year. I don't care if you have to work 360 days out of the year. You're getting paid for it. As for the team that I think is going to make a run next season, sleeper playoff team with the new way that this playoff is structured, we're good for probably 3 to 4 Big Ten teams to make the playoff. And one that I've got my eyes on is Nebraska Cornhuskers. Matt Rule, when he stepped onto the scene at Baylor, went 1-11 in his first season. Missed the postseason, just like his first season in Nebraska, missed the postseason. And now he has a Nebraska team that returns 85% of its production. They returned every single starter on the defense. They have added the #1 quarterback recruit, Dylan Raiola, who many people believe will be ready to start day one. They added 2 transfers out of the portal, a wide receiver out of Wake Forest, and then our old friend Isaiah Nair out of Texas. So Nebraska is in good shape with Michigan due to regress. Penn State looks about due to regress. Ohio State and Oregon are the only 2 sure things in the Big Ten. I think Nebraska can slide into that 3 or 4 spot.
Wow, Nebraska. Another answer I was not expecting. You love Nebraska over there, dude, don't you? Really liked you brought in the investigations, Tennessee and Virginia. I mean, the teams seem to have almost no respect for the NCAA right now. They're like, why are you making these rules? We follow them. Anyways, it's madness. Okay, the points are down. Great answers across the board. We got to move on here to our final rapid-fire question of these head-to-head matchups, and it's going to be a good one. These Windy City boys, okay. Are the Chicago Bears drafting Caleb Williams, and what do you want them to do overall? Anybody can answer.
Well, I think I'll start with this one. I'm a big Justin Fields truther. I love Justin Fields' game. I think he's going to be a very successful NFL quarterback. That said, if you are on your second or third, I've lost count at this point, offensive coordinator in your early NFL career, you're just not set up for success. It doesn't make sense. And so I think that's the biggest reason why the Bears need to take Caleb Williams, because Justin Fields fresh start. And he's also getting to the end of his contract. And right now he's at a point in his career where the Bears don't really know what they're going to get from him long term. Whereas Caleb Williams, you can sign him on a rookie deal and afford to see how he can do in a couple of years with a new offensive coordinator. You've got a solid weapon, better than solid weapon in DJ Moore and Cole Kmet waiting for him. So I don't want to see Justin Fields go, but I think it just makes sense for all parties involved, and I think he can really succeed and take a franchise to the paramount of the NFL at some point in his career.
Fair enough. So you don't want to see Fields go, but he's probably going to go. He needs a fresh start, turmoil in the building, new OCs in and out, and Caleb, rookie deal, 4 years for essentially free. I like that take. All right, Jason, round us off.
Ryan, I'm going to put it really easy for you. I think that the government should investigate the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams first overall. They messed up in the 2017 draft when they took Mitch Trubisky second overall. You saw two generational quarterbacks, one borderline generational, one arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, get taken within the next 10 picks. The Bears now have the top pick. It has been rumored to be the greatest scenario that the first overall pick can ever step into.
Oh, wow.
And I'm of the opinion that Caleb Williams, at his floor in the NFL, is probably where Justin Fields' ceiling was with the Bears last season. Justin Fields played his best football last season when the Bears won 3 games. That's unacceptable. I don't care who they have on the defense. I quite frankly don't care who they have in the offensive line. The Justin Fields experiment is signed, sealed, and over. I'm ready for Caleb Williams to be a Chicago Bear. It's a new era of football in the Windy City.
Wow, there we go. One saying, I don't want him to go, but he's going. And we got one saying, get his butt out of Chicago. I like the fire. I like the fire. Great answers from both you guys. I'm really sad I have to pick a winner here. I would like for you both just to stick around. We can talk some sports, have a drink, do whatever we want to do. But I have to pick a winner here, sadly. So, the winner of the final head-to-head round is, after a quick drum roll, it's Tommy Yarrish, just barely. Tommy gets the victory here, and we now have our final 3 participants tonight, and they will be participating in the final rapid-fire round. Stay with us as our champion will be named in just a few minutes. Welcome back into College Crossfire Tournament of Champions. We have our 3 finalists here who are the number 5 seed in the finals, Ikey Kohler, the number 4 seed, Tommy Yarrish, sitting in the middle, and the number 1 seed, Mr. Joe Duffey over there. And man, are they ready to get at it. My final words to them before starting. What do you think I'm going to say, guys? Come on, come on. Don't get caught in the crossfire. Let's now get to some championship level questions. The NFL Super Bowl is this Sunday, and everyone knows that the commercials are supposed to be top tier. From Doritos to Old Spice, there always seems to be a few that stick with us from the big game. If you could create a Super Bowl commercial for any company, who would it be? And give me just a few minor details of what the commercial might look like. Anybody can start. Joe's looking around.
All right, I'll start.
There we go.
When you think of the Super Bowl, you're having a party, you're hanging out with friends.
Sure.
You got to have something to eat, right?
Yeah.
I'm going down to my friends at Wingstop.
Okay.
The best wing establishment in America, by the way. And we are just creating just the most unreal, obnoxious commercial that's going to make everybody crack up.
Okay.
We're going to probably crack jokes about the Detroit Pistons losing like 28 straight games.
Very true.
In that way. Just be like, if you don't want to be a loser, order Wingstop.
There you go.
Order Wingstop. I mean, and you got to have some deals, because people are usually buying a lot of wings. So if you got like 50 wings, buy one, get one half off. We'll throw in a whole pan of Wingstop fries and a whole container of Wingstop ranch, which is the best ranch in the world.
That's true.
So, Wingstop. Come on, let's make some money.
I like it. You're getting me hungry over here, man. The Pistons. I like that little touch there. Okay, Tommy. I like that. Good way to kick us off.
I'll go next. So I would create a Super Bowl commercial for DoorDash. Have them put a QR code on it, and then better than food is having it delivered to your Super Bowl party at a moment's notice. And what you can do too, you throw in a little Super Bowl ticket, DoorDash VIP guest for next year's Super Bowl.
Wow.
Halftime show, like on the field for the halftime show. Deliver any food. I mean, people probably won't be driving during the Super Bowl, so it needs stuff delivered. So, DoorDash commercial. Even get Shaquille O'Neal in there, eating some big feast at a table and say, "What do you need?" DoorDash.
These are the small details I'm looking for there. A little Shaquille O'Neal. I like that. And man, Super Bowl tickets next year. Woo! All right, I like it, Joe. Let's hear it.
Mine would be like a nice little comedic bit. I'm gonna do like an NFL shop commercial, maybe selling jerseys. I'm gonna have. You've seen those YouTube commercials in the past, not YouTube commercials, but the videos, like, say, Scooter Magruder, like a Cowboys fan's reaction to the past game that you just saw.
Sure.
You could have one for every single team just advertising the nice jerseys they're wearing.
Okay.
One of them could be like the Cowboys being like, having Scooter Magruder saying, maybe it just isn't our year, and it would air during, of course, the Super Bowl in the pregame. Or you can have a Saints one saying, oh my God, if only we got that pass interference call against us. Or it could be, I don't know, Rams fans saying, we got away with one back in the NFC Championship, living on to the Super Bowl. Just a lot of inside jokes for a lot of NFL teams and their fans, and the jerseys they'd have on would be a nice advertisement for the NFL shop.
I like that little NFL shop comedy. I like it. Fans becoming brothers. Watching Mahomes yet again in the Super Bowl, but that's okay. All right, great answers all around. Points have been taken down. Of course, I'm not going to tell you. When do I ever tell you? So we're going to go straight to our second question. For sports junkies like myself, I seem to never get bored of watching people compete. From hoops to highlights, I just enjoy seeing sports being played at all levels. In your opinion, what is the most underrated sport to watch on TV, and why? Anybody can answer.
Oh, this is so easy. Go ahead, Joe. You got it.
You got it.
Wait, want me to flip a coin? No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
For me, it's got to be tennis. I mean, I watch it so much, believe it or not, and it's a shame that the Williams sisters are kind of dwindling. Serena Williams has retired, but Venus is still kind of doing her job and doing well in the soccer world. But overall, tennis is just so entertaining to me. Seeing the rallies back and forth. The games are long at times, of course, in the singles matches, but I do love watching how you ride your own wave for how good you want to be in the tennis world. Whether it be Wimbledon, U.S. Open, or Australia, they play in different continents, but it's so fun to watch them compete. And there's so many legends, say Novak Djokovic or the new up-and-coming Carlos Alcaraz. There's so much parity. I don't think it's a lot of the same guy winning, say like in F1 or saying NFL.
Shout out Sam.
I'm sorry, Sam. I didn't mean it like that. I was just thinking. But overall, tennis is just so fun to watch because of the rallying back and forth. So I love to watch it. It's just entertaining to me.
Fair play. That was an ace of an answer.
All right,
Come on, that was good.
You can save your rallies for later. What sport do you know outside of martial arts and boxing and all that that you can legally fight in the middle of a game as many times as you want? Hockey. In the South, it's not as big. I get it because the Stars are really the only team nearby. But growing up in Chicago, seeing the Blackhawks dynasty kind of grow up and blossom, wins 3 Stanley Cups. It's soccer on ice, and you can fight. What else do you need to hear? Like it is just 90 minutes, more like 60 or 80, depending on how long the game goes, of just pure chaos. And you can't find the puck, and then people are hitting each other left and right. And especially when you're in that closing stretch in a tie game, or you're in overtime, you're on a power play trying to score, your heart gets pumping, probably worse than you will, or maybe equal to how you are on the final drive of a football game. So it's a great sport, very physical, and you get to watch grown, colossal men fight with no penalty.
There you go. I mean, they can just drop the gloves and go right at it.
Exactly.
Very, very entertaining.
Where else are you going to find that?
Very, very true, Tommy. And there's some athletes out there, man. They're skating at the same time. I mean, it's not like you're just, on normal shoes. You're also skating. So really like that answer as well from you. Ikey, let's hear it.
Yeah, so when I hear underrated sport, I've heard a lot of people talk a bunch of trash about this sport, okay? Oh, golf's not a sport. Oh, they have someone carry their golf bag. It's not a sport. Okay. I'm telling you, wake up on a Sunday morning, watch, say, the Masters, for instance, coming up in April. Throw on the Masters. You can have it on in the background. Do some cleaning, do your chores, whatever. See the shots as they take. There's nothing better than watching a player come back from 5 or 6 stroke down, and then he nails an insane putt or an eagle or whatever, and then the whole crowd erupts. So I got to go golf, and not a lot of people watch it. The PGA golf, live golf, and I mean, I wouldn't advise watching live golf, but watch the PGA golf. The Masters, big tournaments coming up. Golf.
Fair enough. Okay, golf. Yes, and golf people don't really know. It's kind of year-round almost. They got smaller tournaments, but man, there's almost nothing like the Masters waking up. Augusta, just a beautiful course. Really like that answer as well. Great answers from all 3 of you guys. Points have been taken down. We're now moving into our last question, unless the bonus question needs to be used. Last question of the Tournament of Champions. Let's get to it. As everyone knows, the podcast world has really taken off over the past few years, especially regarding former athletes. If you had to create a sports podcast with 2 famous athletes, either current or retired, who would you pick to be your 2 co-hosts with you next to you, and why? Anybody can answer. Take your time. Wow. This one's probably a thinker. These are championship level questions, I told you guys.
That's a really good
No coaches allowed, just athletes.
Athletes, former, current, athletes.
I guess Nick Saban could count as an athlete since he technically played football.
Wow, look at Tommy here whipping out the rule book.
Just saying.
No, I'm kidding. I mean, if that's what you want, then go for it. Take your time.
That's a great question. It's got me stumped. I have one.
Anybody?
All right.
Cue the Jeopardy music. All right.
All right, I'll go first. When it's going to be a big-time podcast, first of all, 3 hosts. I'm going to want 2 of the GOATs in their sport to sit next to me and talk about winning, talk about how they competed, talk about how they prepared. So Michael Jordan's going to be one of my co-hosts.
Okay.
And the other co-host, I'm going to go ahead and say throw Mike Trout on there. Michael Jordan,
Ooh,
Mike Trout.
Okay.
Mike and Ike. It'll be the Mike and Ike podcast. Okay. It's got a good ring to it. It's great.
Okay.
But Michael Trout will talk about, unfortunately, how he hasn't been winning with the Angels, and then Michael Jordan. I want to hear him talk about the documentary, The Last Dance, and I want to hear about how they're able to win, compete, and get where they're at, and their life after sport, at least for Michael Jordan. So
man, that Mike and Ike name is killer. That's great. Michael Jordan, obviously one of the best basketball players of all time. Mike Trout on his way to being the best baseball player of all time. I love it. All right, 2 answers left.
Go ahead, Joe.
It's kind of weird. I'm going to stay with Michael Jordan, but I'm going to go with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen.
Oh,
I know they're kind of like enemies right now, but I just want to see a podcast. I want to see a debut episode of it. I want to see how it works. I know there's been a lot of controversy how Michael Jordan's son is with Scottie Pippen's ex-wife.
Yeah.
A lot of, angst a little bit right there, but just for the comedic aspect, I just want to see a little bit of tension. I'm not one of those guys that kind of shies away from watching stuff that may be a little tense or cringy, I guess you could say, but I would love to watch that. Let them reminisce a little bit of the glory days of the 90s Bulls, because they haven't been as good since that time, but I would love to see them talk about their basketball journeys, because one has had a lot of hype, and then the other, Scottie Pippen, grew up in Arkansas, didn't have any hype, played JUCO ball, and then made it to the 90s Bulls dynasty. So it'd bring a lot of controversy. It'd get a lot of clicks, I'm sure of that. So Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, that'd be my podcast.
Like that. I would definitely click on that. Absolutely. You got me there. Really like that answer from Joe. Tommy, let's hear it.
All right, when you think of sports podcasts with former players, what are you looking for? One, a guy who was really good in his playing days. Two, a guy with a great sense of humor. I've got two of those guys right now, two really good ball knowers who are hilarious. Give me a football podcast with myself, Marshawn Lynch, and Randy Moss. That is going to be the funniest NFL podcast of all time. We got to sit down and talk with Marshawn Lynch about what was going on in his mind when he was at Cal and he stole the golf cart going on the field, and Randy Moss when he mooned the crowd when he was in Green Bay. All-time podcast, all-time clips coming up from that show. It would be so much fun to talk to those two guys every single episode.
Absolutely, it would be. Marshawn Lynch, I mean, if you don't know, go Google whatever Tommy just brought up. He's literally just driving the cart. They pick injured players up off at Cal. Unbelievable. Randy Moss, top 5 wide receiver of all time in the NFL. Another great idea from you, Tommy. Great ideas and answers all around. And, man, we're done. Man, this is sad. Yeah, this is sad. What a great episode. I have added up the points, and a bonus question is not needed. We have a champion today. Wow. All right. Can we get our drum roll, please, for the Tournament of Champions champion? It is Mr. Tommy Yarrish. Tommy Yarrish has won the Tournament of Champions. Do we have time for FaceTime? Do we have time for FaceTime? I'm sure we have time for FaceTime. FaceTime? We have time for FaceTime?
FaceTime?
Yeah, we got a studio till 10.
FaceTime?
Studio till 10, like you said.
I don't know.
Go,
Tommy, right here. Congrats, Tommy.
Everyone. Well, I just want to thank my lovely family, my girlfriend, my friends, the city of Chicago for showing their full support, my fellow Chicagoan, Jason Kinander, and all Chicagoans out there. This is for you. We've been through so much pain, but finally, something is coming back to the Windy City. So happy to win it for you. Happy to win it for you guys.
Well, Tommy, congrats to you again. Thank you for not only you guys right here, but all of our panelists tonight. And that will wrap things up for us here at TSTV. Thank you to everyone who makes this show possible, from the contestants, in-studio personnel, people in master control, and to you, the audience, especially. I'm your host, Ryan Swantkowski, and we will see you guys next time.